What's up, friends? Look at how far we've come in our daily reading plan. We are already on Mark chapter 14. Starts off by letting us know that this is just a couple days from the Passover. And you know what that means? Jesus is about to give his life on the cross on Passover weekend. And so he knows this, and I'm sure that's on his mind. Yet look at where he is. I don't know where you would be. I don't know where I would be 2 days before I was going to be tortured to death. But I imagine I'd probably pick where that was going to be on purpose. It would probably be some place that was very valuable to me. It'd probably be with the people that I love the most. It would probably be around people that are going to encourage me and give me strength. And yet it says in this moment, not only are the chief priests and teachers of the law scheming, verse 2, to arrest Jesus and kill him secretly, but it says in verse 3, while he was in Bethany, reclining at the table of the home of Simon the leper. Right? Jesus, 48 hours, 2.5 days before he's going to give his life, is at a leper's house. Lepers in that era of history, in that society, they were treated like they were cursed from God, but they were also treated as contagious. And there was almost like this quarantine type method to relating with them. And they wouldn't be in the city, and they wouldn't be in church, and they wouldn't be around social settings. And yet Jesus is at Simon the leper's house. It doesn't say Simon the former leper. Like, that's what at first I thought, like, oh, last thing Jesus is gonna do before he gives his life is he's gonna heal this leper, change his life forever, reintroduce him into community and family and all this other stuff, change this guy forever. But it doesn't say Simon the former leper. It says Simon the leper at his house in Bethany. Reclining at the table, touching things, being around the unwanted. He's on his furniture and touching stuff. And I mean, it's almost as if he's making a point that though he knows he is going to give his life in a few days, he's still choosing to make a sacrifice now. And he's choosing to give and serve now. And I mean, this is just blowing my mind today as I'm thinking about this. You know, later in Matthew 25, around the same time in Matthew's gospel, Jesus talks about how when we stand before him one day, he's going to ask us questions like, where were you when I was hungry? Where were you when I was thirsty? When I was naked and needed clothes? When I was a stranger and you invited me in? Where were you when I was in prison? I didn't get a visit. And we're going to say to him, what are you talking about? When were you ever in prison, Jesus? He's going to say, whenever you did this to the least of these, you did this to me. Jesus says, I don't just identify with the person who is going and bringing the provision or the greeting or the clothes or the person who is feeding. I actually choose to dwell in the suffering of the people who are behind bars, who are on empty stomachs, who do feel distant, who feel like lepers. Jesus says, you want to know where to find me when you're looking for me? Like maybe you're watching this video and you're like, where's God? How do I find him? Where is he? He feels so far away, away, away. I'm going to tell you exactly where Jesus is. He's at leper's house. He's at places that I don't want to go either. He's in the places that we don't feel comfortable, that kind of make us uncomfortable. And I bet you Jesus is oftentimes in the last place we will look because he's in the last place we want to go. My encouragement to you today would be to ask the Holy Spirit if maybe God's waiting for you somewhere that you have yet to look, simply because you are not willing to go. Maybe on the other side of you being uncomfortable, there's a new depth and dimension to your relationship with Jesus. He's not playing hide and go seek with you because he wants to hide. Maybe it feels like hide and go seek simply because he's waiting somewhere for you and he wants to meet you there. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.